We can achieve goals on autopilot. The thing that triggered me is going to YouTube and watch a bunch of goal setting videos. Effortless motivation, describe the ideal and perfect outcome, the least desired outcome, write down milestones, habits, new beliefs that make a Okay, we diving already into the habit area, that you have to establish habits in order to achieve your goals. But it's nonsense. What is missing is a system. A habit doesn't help you if you don't have a system behind. So my conclusion for this was, this video is the wrong approach to goal setting. And I said here, you don't need to create habits or hack your brain in order to achieve your goals. What you need is a system that supports you to achieve your goals on autopilot. And we'll get to this in a moment. But then there is another video that actually sparked my interest. It said, create systems, not goals. Okay, so instead of creating goals in this video, he's talking about system, and that sparked my interest because we also believe without a system, it's impossible to achieve your goals. However, it's here, stop making goals overall.
Yes, smart people don't create goals anymore.
Well then, call me stupid. I'm creating goals, we are creating goals at the Paperless movement, and if you're working in business and you're working in corporate, you will have goals there. There's no choice. You will get a goal that you have to achieve in that year, and we have to make it work in order to achieve this. So the thing is, if we go to Tiago Forte, 3 years ago, he made a video about goal setting that was actually pretty close to what we say when it comes to this, that you cannot make goals without projects. All right. If you don't connect your intentions with actions, you will never get it done. So he calls it a dream, a hobby, progress. I like this perspective on what goals are. We call goals also as the North Star, but it's not something you look up on a daily basis like Ali Abdaal does it, right? So if you go here, set systems, not goals.
Look at those goals that you've written down every single week, if not every single day.
No. Why would you do this? This is showing that there is no system behind. When we think about this, setting goals and then look at them weekly, if not daily, to be reminded, and then Ali keeps going that he sometimes forget to look at the goals and then he catches up with this and so on. It shows there's no system behind. Sorry about this. But here, Tiago says a goal without a project is a dream. And I agree. We have to need both goal and projects, but then it stops. How do we make sure to create these projects and have everything in one place? It's not about writing it down in a little book and keep looking up this book, because you're in your daily business, all right? As even Ali says it here.
It's just so easy to forget those things otherwise because we're so caught up in the day-to-day of what's happening in the calendar, what's happening in work and in life.
But that's the point. I agree with him. We are so caught up in this, what's happening in calendar and daily life, unexpected events, as we keep saying. But the thing is, how the heck do you plan to achieve your goals if your life next to what you have in your little book is running in parallel? It's impossible. You have to bring things together to see the full picture. But that's the point. You cannot disconnect your personal goals with the business goals and all the other things that are going on in your life. You have to schedule these things out as much as you do with your business tasks and goals too. It's not based on habits. You need to have a system, but you still have to set goals. I agree, without a project, this goal will never get done. It stays a dream. Anyway, these are all good ideas, but the big picture is missing. How do you set up the system in order to achieve these goals on autopilot? Okay, so how do we do this? We have to be realistic when we talk about personal goal setting and we distinguish this from the work goals and things like that. That's nonsense. You have one life and you have one timeline and you have 24 hours in one day. So therefore everything needs to be in there and you need to get this bird's eye view on everything. So if you're working in a 9-to-5 and you want to build a side hustle, you need to be aware of what you do in your 9-to-5 and what it needs in order to achieve anything on top of that. And this will then give you a starting point to think about, hey, how can I actually free up time in 9-to-5 to make more time for my side hustle or things like that, right? We have to look at the execution piece, and that looks much more complex than it is actually. This is set up into different parts. It's all about achieving your goals. It starts with defining the output elements here, right? So we have goals And out of goals, we create projects, much like Thiago said, okay? Without projects, we cannot get anything done. It will stay a dream. However, Thiago doesn't mention what to do with these projects and how to ensure that these projects get done. And that's where the execution beast comes into play. Then we have work streams and we have operations and then we have tasks. Tasks are the only actionable items. So if Thiago says goals without projects are just dreams, I'd say it's still a dream. You can create as many projects as you like if you haven't defined the actions that a project consists. Because that's where the blurry lines come. What is the difference between a goal and a project? In many cases it has the same title. So we have to get the definition right that a project is just a container of tasks. And there's only one level of tasks. We don't have sub tasks or things like that. No. Then we have to differentiate between work streams and operations. That's what Ali Abdaal said in the beginning. You know, in the daily business, all the unexpected events happening, all the things that happening on your calendar and things like that. That's the daily business. Projects have a start and an end date. A set of tasks in order to achieve your goals. So can we agree with this, that the moment you have a project created out of a goal and this project consists of list of tasks, by simply completing the tasks that are necessary to complete the project and therefore achieve your goals. And this is where we say you achieve your goals on autopilot. And that's the moment where we say all these prioritization features inside these project management tools are all nonsense. These mid-low priorities, nonsense. Any task that is in your system is the priority high, because it is tied to a project and the project therefore is tied to goals. So therefore, by completing these tasks, you already have highest priority. Why would you now differentiate in prioritization? So if you set too many goals and you created too many projects out of these goals and you have too many tasks to work on, then don't work on these projects right now. You just have so much time in a day. And therefore, you have a better understanding of how to prioritize the tasks you need to do in order to accomplish your goals. Then work streams is the same principle as projects. Work streams is just a set of tasks again. But work streams are recurring projects. So if you have a production line and you have a product that you are selling, creating this product from start to finish is a work stream. It's your supply chain, if you will, but the work stream itself consists of different workflows, and these workflows consist of processes. So that's another topic for another video, talking about workflow optimization and automation. And then we have operations, and that's again just a container for tasks. All these random tasks appearing in your business that have no specific place or goal to go to, those need to be placed somewhere. And that's what we call operations. And we will look into this in more detail in a moment in ClickUp. That's the high level understanding. You create this. You start with your goals. Out of these goals, you create the projects. You tie also work streams, operations to these goals. And all of these three contain the tasks. How do you do this? You do this in a project management system. And people misunderstand the difference between a task management system and a project management system. And that's where we make a real distinction here. So even if you're a solopreneur, you have to think that you would work with a team, because you're the team yourself. You switching hat, going from accountant to support to CEO of the company to YouTube creator and all these things. That's the hats you're wearing. By building a system and pretending that you're working with a team, you will be able to hire a team and fill these slots. That's exactly what I did. And then in order to achieve the goals, we have to look at weekly planning. The weekly planning happens in the project management system. So each week, Paco and I have one meeting only, and that's on Monday, where we sit down and we think about the weekly goals. And these are tasks that we think have the highest priority right now to move these projects forward. And therefore we set at least 5 weekly goals that we all agreed on. And when I go back to my desk, that's then on me to plan out my tasks accordingly during the week to get it actually done. And that's what we call the highlight of the day, where we then have the daily planning throughout the week. Okay, here we are in personal task management now. So the moment I go to my desk, I'm in task management mode. I'm starting to plan these 5 weekly goals that we agreed on to have a 1 deep work session each day to try my best to complete these tasks each day. So that's the execution. And that's where we have to think about energy level. People are busy the whole day with shallow work, or as I said, working for other people's goals. But with this clear understanding that out of this goal, there was a project everybody agreed on, and there are tasks that come from this project that is now discussed in the weekly meeting, that this is what we need to achieve this week. Everybody is on the same page. There's no interruptions because another person comes in or your boss comes in and, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Sorry. We planned it out and it's perfectly defined because I'm working on these tasks during the week and therefore I move the business forward. So now you have to tell me, how is it more important to work on this instead of my weekly goals? That's the moment where you get the freedom to actually work on the things that matter, unless it is urgent. And this means it is business interrupting. It kills business continuity. The business stops. For example, if I'm a web developer and I'm designing a website right now, but I'm also responsible for keep the website running and the website breaks down and the visitors can no longer see anything on a website, obviously, then I stop working on designing a new page and go to the website and fix it. That's the only exception to have urgent tasks. With this overview, you're in full control every day. What is the most important thing to do right now? Peer means plan. When I'm going to do this, then you execute. What do I do now? And while you're executing, and if any unexpected event comes in, you always have to ask yourself the align part. Am I doing what I should be doing? And this question goes directly back to your goals. So this is the moment where you have the feedback loop towards your goals. If anything comes at your plate that is not planned out, you have to realign with your goals. And this is the moment when you look at your goals and the projects in order to see, does it really make sense to take on this opportunity now or wait until the end of this quarter to see if I achieve the goals? This is the moment. Not every morning looking at your goals. It makes no sense because, as I said, by simply executing the tasks that result out of the projects that are tied to these goals, you will achieve these goals on autopilot. Why should I look them up every day? Makes no sense at all. All you need to have is the systems that show you where the goals are. And that's what we do now. Let's have a look inside our system. In this case, we are using ClickUp, but it doesn't matter. You can use any project management tool. Whatever works best for you, you should use. So here we are. If you're not using ClickUp, it doesn't matter. All I need to show you are these 3 folders. You can set up these folders in any other tool too. You see, that's a folder holding the project that we are doing inside the Paperless movement. This is a folder team. There's only the agenda meeting where I said we have the weekly planning in just 1 meeting a week. And during this week, whenever something comes up, we place it in here because then we know it gets covered in the next meeting. And then we have the idea incubator. If there are any ideas that are not relevant to our current projects and therefore goals, they end up here. So each quarter, when we finished our goals and we free up capacities to work on something else, this is the place where to go because we already have the starting point. We have a single source of truth where we can expand the knowledge around an idea without actually affecting our current work. So we keep moving towards our goals as well. Then we have our projects here. You know, we just launched the ICO Journey cohort. We have the membership 2025 where we have a lot of things that we have done. Work streams, here's the YouTube videos. That's currently the video I'm editing right now. And that's a work stream. You see all the videos that we published on YouTube? It goes on and on and on. And this shows a system is running. Every week at least 1 video gets published on this YouTube channel, and this is the work stream behind this. All these things run on autopilot. I don't have to think each time, how do I create my video? How do I upload this? That's a work stream. Projects are things that you start for the first time and you have no idea how much time it will take. You just move until you finish this project. Whereas work streams you can optimize. And in operations we have these categories: accounting, website updates. So whenever there's anything that needs to get updated on the website, it goes here. So these places, marketing and sales, you know, all these things You see, these are all tasks that you don't have a project that it goes into or that doesn't fit into a work stream, and that's it. So now the question is, what about the goal tracking? And here we go. Launched 3 mastery courses, launched iCore for Teams, launched automated email funnel, iCore book. These are the goals. But how did we create these goals? You can do this in here. You can sit together, think about your goals. And if you go in here, for example, then you see email funnel up and running. There's one list tied to this. Okay, there's a project called email marketing. And here we go. This is the last task that we need to complete. And by completing this, we will automatically complete this goal. And that's the nice thing about ClickUp, that you can link things together. But in the end, we never look at these goals except the quarterly review. Then we go here and we see, hey, did we achieve it or not? What's the progress? Because everything is tracked, okay? So if I go iCore for Teams, there's again one list, iCore for Teams, the project is there, boom. And here's still things to do. We have the landing page just launched about this. Everything is moving towards crystal clear, not only for me personally, but also on a team level. And that gives really clarity and removes anxiety from the team as well, because everybody is on the same page. You just have to understand the tool agnostic underlying concepts and workflows in order to set your goals and achieve them on autopilot by trusting that any task that is coming up is the highest priority. There is no such thing like medium or low priority tasks. So now again, how does this link back to your personal life? Let's say I want to build another side hustle. It needs to get scheduled out. And when we look again at the execution beast, this is where your personal planning comes into play. You plan out the things that you have to do, and then you also the things that you also have to do because you say, I want to do this. And this is what differentiates having goals without projects being a dream and actually making them a reality. And did you see? I didn't talk about habits or anything like this. It is a system that tells you your progress towards your goals, but also your time restrictions to see what else can I take on. And that's something so many people don't know. They don't know really what is going on in their life because they are in a firefighter mode. They're in reaction mode. And here you become proactive. You know exactly what's going on. You know when you take on this task, what other tasks will be affected by this. If you found this insightful and you want to learn more about how to achieve peak productivity as a busy professional, give the video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you're really serious about building your own productivity system end to end to get the full picture, then we have the iCore journey for you, either as a book or our comprehensive course where you really go through this in detail, how you set up a productivity system end to end that ensures that you will achieve your goals on autopilot.